Kaiju number 8 is a popular shonen anime that was first released in July 2020, and the show is released in April 2024. Kaiju number 8 takes place in a world where monsters regularly roam the planet and cause disasters. Those monsters are labeled as kaijus. Kaiju is a Japanese term that is commonly used to describe a giant monster. Japan in this world has one of the highest rates of kaiju attacks, so in order to combat against these kaijus, Japan established the Japanese Anti-Kaiju Defense Force. They are a group of elite fighters that specializes in taking down kaijus, and they have been successful for many years. The Defense Force officers wear powered suits made from the remains of the kaijus, which grants them an increase in strength, speed, durability, and recovery. The suits also have a total combined power output, which are measured in a form of a percentage, which depends and varies per person, the highest being 100%. The combat power output can also influence how strong the user's weapons can be. Kaijus are also labeled and assigned a scale or fortitude level, which measures their overall strength. There is Honju, a stronger and dangerous kaiju that exceeds the scale of 8.0, and there is Yoju, a smaller kaiju that accompanies with or grows off from a Honju. They would have a scale lower than a 6.0. And there is Dai Kaiju, the most dangerous versions of kaijus, and they would have the highest fortitude level of 8.0 or higher. And there is labeled kaiju. They are Dai Kaiju who average around on the fortitude level at a 9.0 or higher, and they are so dangerous and powerful that they are given a code name after they have been observed by the system. For example, when Kaka Hibino, our protagonist of the series, swallowed a parasite that allows him to transform into a powerful kaiju, which in the fortitude scale puts him at a staggering 9.8, the highest ever recorded in history, to which then leads to the Neutralization Bureau giving Kafka Hibino a code name, Kaiju number 8. When a labeled kaiju is defeated, they use the remains to turn it into a powerful weaponized suit that allows the users to tap into the strength of the labeled kaiju and abilities. But however, only a selected few are chosen to use the power of the Dai Kaiju if they are compatible. For example, when Isao Shinomiya, the Director General of the Defense Force and the former captain of the 1st Division, was compatible and wielded the power of Kaiju number 2 to fight against the uncontrollable Kafka when Kaiju number 8 was taken over. And even with that power up, he was still no match against Kaiju number 8's full power. Kaijus come in different shapes and sizes, but every kaiju possesses a core, which is their vital organ and weakness, but every kaiju core is located differently. Not all of them are at the same place. Now imagine this, the observation team alerted the defense force of a powerful reading they received from the fortitude scale. Kafka also senses a strong kaiju approaching. His body is reacting strongly. It's unlike anything they have ever seen. Once they saw the beast, this would be the first kaiju in history to not receive a codename in a form of a number. They labeled this kaiju Godzilla. But they detected more powerful Dai Kaijus around the world. Kong, Mothra, Rodan. They recognized pretty quickly that they are not from this world. They have no core inside. This would be a very tricky task, but they are up to take the challenge. How far can they go against the Showa-verse? Hold on, before we continue, I must fill out a contractual obligation. This video is brought to you by Manta Sleep Mask, baby. Don't you hate it when you're about to go to sleep and you ain't sleeping? I know I have. Manta Sleep sent me one of their best masks, and this is the Bluetooth edition. I tried it myself, and I'm not gonna lie, this is pretty good. This is one of the best sleeps I've ever had, and it actually shuts down all visible light, and it has perfect eye sockets, and you can change them however you fits best wherever your eyes are. For this Bluetooth version, if you want to get it yourself, using the link in the description below, don't forget to use code MAYOR for 10% off for your order. Thanks Manta Sleep for sending in the mask. Don't forget to use code MAYOR down in the link in the description and when you're using the website if you want to buy your first order. Now back to the video. The Defense Force is setting out their strongest fighters to face off against these threats. They also realize that keeping Kafka alive is their best choice and sends him out there in the front lines. With Kafka's high knowledge of the Kaiju's anatomy combined with his insane strength of Kaiju number 8, he and his team takes on the first challenge. We're going to be going through some of the Kaijus the Showa era can offer. I'm going to skim through some of the easy ones such as Varan and the 1st gen Rodan since they were taken down by military weapons and volcanoes, and this all takes place back in the 1950s, so imagine them against a much more advanced weaponized military force including some of the Kaiju weapons and Kafka. Varan and the Rodans would be scaled as a Yoju in this verse. Moving on to Kong. Kong is pretty strong on his own, taking down a 20,000 ton Godzilla, and it's pretty durable taking some of Godzilla's beams, and their battle was devastating enough to cause large earthquakes. But Kafka is extremely fast, faster than anyone in the Showa-verse, reaching at hypersonic speeds, and Kafka can launch attacks strong enough to launch a Kaiju to the upper stratosphere. He can also stop Kaiju attacks as strong as nukes with just his scream. They have lots of resources and abilities, leaving Kong unfortunately to dust, giving Kaiju number 8 low to mid difficulty. Heading on to Hedorah is going to be a bit tough, given its ability to pollute and cause environmental damage. While it might be vulnerable to the tech in the Kaiju number 8 universe, its toxin and regenerative abilities would make it a tricky opponent. But Kafka, in Kaiju number 8 form, could potentially deal with Hedorah on his own in a direct confrontation, and as with his many abilities, he can slow down other Kaiju's healing factors as he did with Kaiju number 9. Number 9 has really good healing factors, but after fighting with Kafka, he was forced to flee as his regenerative powers were slowed down significantly. With Kafka's Kaiju knowledge, and that's a big if he ever figures out his weakness by drying it out and using their high advanced technology to stop Hedorah, I would give the win to the Kaiju number 8 universe, a mid to high difficulty. Moving on to Gigan, and this is where it's also going to be tough. His agility and advanced weaponry such as his saw, his lasers would pose a big threat. He was able to cut and damage Godzilla, instantly causing it to bleed. The Kaiju number 8 universe would have to rely on strategy, teamwork, and using their best weapons, including Kafka's Kaiju form. It's possible they could win, but Gigan's unpredictability, such as fleeing whenever it takes significant damage, would make it a tough fight, and annoying as well. Kafka has an insane reaction speed, so I don't see him getting caught by one of its blades or getting outspeeded by Gigan. Another thing to add is that whenever he's in his Kaiju form, he doesn't perform or attack like any other Kaiju would. With his advanced military background, he can outperform Gigan with his speed and combat skills. With a pretty high difficulty, Kaiju number 8 moves on. Moving on to Megalon. Megalon is a threat not to be messed with. While not as fast as Kafka, Megalon can fly speed as high as Mach 3, swim at Mach 4, and dig underground at Mach 2. Megalon has a much more stronger durability as his body is tough as diamonds. Would Kafka's strength be enough to damage Megalon? We still don't know about Kafka's full potential, but I highly doubt that Kafka can get through, though not impossible. But with combined force with his allies, like for example Mina, who can output 96% of power through her battlesuit when shooting the giant laser beam cannon made up of Kaiju material, and is used to eliminate a Kaiju that is 3 times bigger than Megalon, and Mina is one of many elite soldiers of the series. With that information, this could potentially be the deal breaker to eliminate Megalon. Megalon doesn't have the greatest of intelligence, which puts the Kaiju number 8 verse ahead, and use their battle tactics or strategy to eliminate Megalon. But there is one Kaiju that they don't have a proper strategy for, and that is King Ghidorah, and this is where they stop. As far as I know, Kaiju number 8 hasn't dealt with a Kaiju that can absorb energy from the sun and perform at planetary feats or small star level, and this is one of my most trickiest and most confusing matchups, especially the show era Kaijus. One specifically is being King Ghidorah himself, apparently being at star level. Just let me know for sure, I could be wrong, it's just a lot of statements rather than being performed on screen. For example, in the Zone Fighter series, they made a claim that King Ghidorah is their best weapon even though they already have planetary busting weapons, or when they said that King Ghidorah destroyed planet Venus, except that he destroyed a civilization in planet Venus, which also makes sense because they want to use King Ghidorah to destroy the civilization on Earth and conquer planet Earth, not destroy the Earth itself. But who might have known? Zone Fighter is hardly considered canon, and there's a lot of claims taken literally or mistranslated poorly. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Definitely let me know some more of this stuff of the Showaverse, because I was going to do the Monsterverse originally, except it was already been done, so Showa is there and it's semi-popular or very popular, I don't know. But yeah, there's a lot of statements, a lot of wild claims for an old films. Don't forget to leave some other suggestions below, what ifs, versus battles, story, history, I don't know. So if you guys enjoy, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.